Hello and welcome to Northern Nightmares, your home for nightmare stories throughout Canada and beyond. I'm your host Andrew, and welcome to the 5th episode. When I started this project, making the first episode was a lot of work. Now, at 5, I feel things are starting to come together in ways I've envisioned. The feedback from friends and family has been great, and I wanted to tell you today some good news. I know the first ones are only a few minutes long, and I think ghost stories and folklore can only go for so long when facts tend to be more rumored than concrete evidence. So, I've decided I'll be covering serial killers, cults, and what I'm calling dark history, as I'm aiming for 30 to 60 minute long episodes in the future. I won't jump right into some of the brutal stories out there at the moment, as some can be extremely graphic, so I'll slowly be easing them in. In addition to that, I want to state I won't be touching stories like Dahmer or Ted Bundy, since they're overcovered on many platforms right now, but instead talking about ones I feel haven't been talked about lately, like Robert Pickton, John Wayne Gacy, or Paul Bernardo and Carlo Homolka, for examples. I've been working hard lately on getting the rest of the season planned out with these new topics, so you'll be seeing them soon. In saying all that, I'm not going to forget about ghost stories. I will be covering them as well, but I want to have a very diverse show for you. So get ready for these stories, because things are going to get horrifying in ways maybe some of you can't imagine. And without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. The little province of Prince Edward Island is known as a major tourist destination in the heart of the Maritimes, most famous for its PEI potatoes and the story of Anne of Green Gables. On the eastern side of the island, in Kings County, there's a small community named Georgetown with a population of 544 people. It's a quaint little spot if you're looking for small town vibes. In the heart of this community lies their most famous attraction, the Kings Playhouse Theatre. Built in 1897, it's Canada's oldest running theatre to this day, of 127 years old. It was designed by the architect William Critchlow Harris, and when completed, it was used as a multi-purpose town hall and of course a theatre. Built to house 300 people, it's had its fair share of famous people, some names being Harry Houdini, Donald Sutherland, and even Sarah Bernhardt. Remember that name for later. However, in 1983, the theatre tragically burnt down. Whilst I couldn't find the exact cause, it was during a massive storm in March of the same year. In 1984, it was rebuilt with the help of the volunteers in the community. In 2009, the theatre received about $600,000 in grants from both the federal and provincial governments for some much-needed renovations. These renovations included an additional 3,200 square feet section and also improvements to the structure and foundation. Also included was about $160,000 in new sound and lighting equipment for future venues. The main theater has 300 seats in addition to another 150-person section, and also a 290-person auditorium with a 130-person dedication hall, 15-seated boardroom, and 50-person outdoor deck. Now there's one piece of info I left out till now. When the Playhouse was originally built, its location used to be a graveyard with a multitude of unmarked graves. The marked graves were dug up and relocated to another area. However, the unmarked graves were never found and remain underneath the Playhouse to this day. And this is where our story truly begins, as it's speculated the graves are the reason why the Playhouse is haunted. I have for you a few famous spirits that roam its grounds. Now, none of these stories have a real reason as to why they haunt the Playhouse, but it all goes back to the graves still buried on site. The last one I'll share, I believe, is the true master of the theatre. Everyone that visits gives this spirit the utmost respect, or else it shows its disappointment in you. But we'll get to him soon. Our first ghost is Sarah Bernhardt, or also known as the Divine Sarah. I had mentioned her earlier as she had performed at the theatre once upon a time. She was a famous stage actress that traveled the world in the early 1900s, originally from France. Sometime around 1914, she performed at the Kings Playhouse. During her performance, she had fell and injured her right knee, unfortunately ending her tour and having to return to France. In February 1915, the injury hadn't healed and gangrene had started to develop. Sarah had ordered the doctors in France to amputate her leg as it was causing extreme pain. Also, this was around about a year after World War I had broke out. As prosthetics weren't available at the time, Sarah ended up with a wooden leg, which didn't stop her love of the theatre, and was back performing sometime later that year. Sarah, being as famous as she was, especially in France, her leg was placed on display in formaldehyde for morbid curiosity at the Bordeaux University for visitors to check out. Now it's unclear what ties Sarah to haunt the Playhouse, but employees and actors say when in the dressing room or anywhere in the back rooms, they can hear a thumping sound moving throughout the hallway. Seems like even in the afterlife, Sarah's love for the theatre continues to fill the halls of the Playhouse. Our next story is about a little pale-faced girl creeping around the corners of the Playhouse while holding a doll. She is the most frequently seen in the basement. Employees have stated when down there they feel a heavy presence on their body and it leads to a feeling of dread. When anyone catches a glimpse of this little ghost, she's gone before your eyes as if she's playing a game with you. Some have seen her staring at them, peeking around these corners, and when they go to investigate, she disappears, but the feeling of her presence still lingers. She is quite common for the senior staff as they're unbothered by her, but new employees have stated being terrified of her when they themselves have their own run-in with her. There's no evidence as well as to why she haunts the theatre or what ties her to this place, but it's often speculated it involves the unmarked graves. Maybe the little girl is buried underneath the theatre and is resentful for having the Playhouse built on top of her. We may never know the truth, but I wouldn't want to disrespect her for fear of what she is capable of. Our final story tells the tale of a spirit ironically known by the community as Captain George, and I believe the Playhouse is his domain. Over the years, many have claimed to see a man with a beard and what looks to be wearing a sea captain's uniform, traversing the entire building, often with the heavy feelings of being watched, and anyone feeling this often gets chills running down their spine. Often seen by the main stage or appearing in the upper wings as if waiting for a show to start. Sometime in the 1960s, the Playhouse was having some electrical issues, lights shutting off throughout the building, even lights for the stage kept turning off, especially during rehearsals. A team of electricians were hired, and upon further inspection, they couldn't figure out the cause. However, the electricians claimed during their time, a man in a sea captain's uniform seemed to be watching them as they worked. Theory suggests this was all caused by the captain. Was it just all playful fun, or a warning? Whatever the reason, the staff decided to appease their fellow captain by offering up a special chair reserved only for him in the theatre. Now, if anyone accidentally sat or even placed their belongings in the captain's chair, you would feel his wrath, either by turning off the lights in the theatre or even slamming the doors till his chair is vacant. So it was later roped off with signs stating it's permanently reserved. If one were to sit next to either side of the chair, one could feel the immense cold spot next to them, and even hear something banging like a door, but it only affects those around his chair. Actors and guests have claimed to even feel a tug at their heels as well, whether it be on stage or sitting down. Other events involve things disappearing and reappearing, usually with actors rehearsing and during showtime. It's also common practice that staff during closure must not be alone and must have a partner with them, as over the years, staff have been terrified of being alone at night, as claims state they've heard their names being called in the darkness of the theater. Is this all activity just harmless tricks, or is there something more sinister going on? Are the spirits here to draw in more visitors with their antics, or are they upset with their graves being desecrated? If we respect them and cause them no harm, we shouldn't see what they're truly capable of doing to us. This is the story of the famous Kings Playhouse Theatre. I hope you enjoyed this creepy tale, and I will say it will be the last of the short episodes, as of the next 5 episodes will be much longer and different compared to the first 5. A little teaser for the next couple episodes. Next will be based on famous haunted objects, or you could even say demonically possessed, and the episode after that will be the very first serial killer episode. So get ready for them, because I'm going to amp this show up with some brutality. See you soon, and sweet dreams.